On a solitary night, I allowed a 19-year-old delivery boy access to my residence, abandoning the thoughts of a mother or a woman with dignity. Instead, I was contemplating the echoes of my own breath in an empty house. His name was Angel, and he provided me with Chinese takeout, departing with something irreplaceable, my sense of command. At 55, divorced, and sagely aware to avoid such folly, I still found myself vulnerable. As our eyes connected and he smiled as if I were not unseen, a fissure within me emerged. What began innocuously as dialogue escalated into a wound I wore hidden beneath my skin. You may condemn me, but hear me out first. Let me explain how that evening transpired, and why I yearned desperately for the opportunity to have never opened the door. Prior to delving deeper, I want to express my gratitude to you. Whether you are a dedicated subscriber or a fresh listener, know that I value your presence profoundly. This channel would not thrive without your unwavering support. Each like, comment, and subscription propels me to continue narrating these tales teetering on love, remorse, and recovery. If you haven't subscribed till now, it would be an honor if you did so. Now let's delve back into the narrative. I am Peggy, residing in a quaint Alabama town, where one's past is ever present. For 27 years, I was a school teacher, married for 23 of those, and raised 2 children, paid off a humble abode, and cooked dinner every evening until the day my husband Edward confessed his love for another. She was 29, a realtor, blonde, feigned laughter, flawless teeth. It's been 3 years since then. Ever since, I've dwelled alone in the same house that once housed a life now resembling a museum of recollections. The walls are mute, the quietness is deafening. That night, it was raining heavily. I had no desire to cook, thus ordered Chinese, opting for orange chicken and egg rolls from the eatery down the road. Upon hearing the doorbell, I opened to find a young lad, rather than an adult, standing there soaked in the pouring rain. Tall and with dark curls plastered to his forehead, he had eyes that were too tender for someone of his age. His name tag read Angel. I remarked, "You're drenched. Shall I fetch some money while you wait?" He obliged, wiping his wet sneakers on the rug as he stepped indoors. "Thank you, ma'am," he replied. The term ma'am always makes me feel like an inanimate object. Yet, when he gazed at me, not over me or through me, but directly at me, I felt more than just a service provider and an entranceway. I handed him the money and suggested keeping the change. "Are you certain?" he inquired. "This is quite a generous tip." I assured him, "I am confident," adding, "You should not be exposed to such weather conditions." He flashed a smile. Something about the way he said that caused my chest to constrict. Intrigued, I inquired, "Would you care for some tea before departing?" I'm unsure what prompted me to ask. Sometimes, loneliness has a habit of creeping up your throat when you least anticipate it. Without asking for any favors, we found ourselves seated at my kitchen table, me in my robe while he dripped rainwater onto the floor. We discussed trivial matters, his part-time classes, my garden, the most delectable dumplings in town. Yet his gaze lingered just enough to make me feel it. That night, I allowed someone to overstep a boundary I had set in stone for years. Not through touch or kiss, but with a look, with focus, with presence. As he rose to depart, our fingers accidentally brushed. The sensation was shocking. I should have put a halt to it then, but I did not, and the actions that followed still give me unease each time I recall them. The following morning in my kitchen, I stood before the same chair where Angel had sat. The coffee steam obscured the window, yet my thoughts were crystal clear, weightier than they had been in years and relentless. I did not sleep. I barely even blinked. I kept replaying everything, his gaze, my submission, my crossing a line I vowed never to approach. It wasn't about sex. It never progressed that far. The emotional bond with someone so young, barely out of high school, felt equally forbidden, dangerous. I convinced myself it was an isolated incident, a momentary lapse in judgment. I thought I'd never see him again, but I was deceiving myself. 3 days later, Angel contacted me. I almost let the call go unanswered, but perhaps it was curiosity or guilt that made me pick up before I could resist. "Hello," he said. "You likely think I'm strange for calling. I just wanted to check on you." That voice so soft, inappropriate for the turmoil it stirred within me. I should have ended the call then. Instead, I replied, "I'm fine. Thank you." And there was a silence, thick with unspoken words. "I enjoy talking to you, Miss Peggy," he said. It felt different, unique. That term enveloped me like a warm coat. In years, I hadn't been different to anyone. We agreed to meet again. In town. Just coffee. Just a conversation. Over subsequent weeks, our encounters persisted. We found solace in secluded spots. Park benches, hidden corners of bookstores, even inside his worn-out Honda Civic beneath the bridge by the river. He spoke of aspirations, his tumultuous bond with his father, and financial struggles to attend classes. I felt significant once more as I listened. Unexpectedly, one day he extended his hand across and grasped mine. A seemingly ordinary gesture that resonated profoundly. It was then I realized the depths I'd sunk into. I had become someone's covert confidant. Shortly thereafter, another incident unfolded. My neighbor, the town's gossip queen Cheryl, confronted me at our mailbox. "Spotted you getting into a young man's vehicle recently," she said, her voice tinged with sweetness and mistrust. "New acquaintance?" I tried to deflect it humorously. "He is merely a student I am guiding." Yet her expression revealed she found my explanation wanting, and that she would not hesitate to share the information. Returned indoors, I drew the curtains and my heart thundered. Later that evening, a blocked account on Facebook sent me a message. "You're vile. He's a child. Wait until your daughter discovers this." My windpipe tightened. I struggled to breathe. I swiftly deleted it and blocked the sender, but it was too late. No longer simply tormented by my error, I was pursued by it. And the one individual who could annihilate everything I'd worked so hard to rebuild was the same person who had once made me feel alive after years of emptiness. The words echoed in my mind long after I erased them. "You're vile. He's a child." Fixated on my phone, hoping for Angel's soothing voice and infectious laughter to alleviate the growing pit in my stomach, but he never called or texted. Nothing for days, not a peep. In a moment of desperation, I reached out once, convincing myself it was harmless to check in, but it wasn't. I needed him. Her quietness echoed more than any spoken message. That particular Sunday, my daughter Melanie unexpectedly knocked on my door. She appeared tense. Her arms folded, her gaze piercing, revealing an undercurrent of trouble. "Mom," she said, her voice somber. "I need to ask you something, and I want honesty." A wave of dread washed over me. The gossip must have reached her ears. Perhaps Cheryl had let it slip at church. Maybe someone spotted us in the park. Or perhaps she read the message too. Preparing myself, I steeled my resolve. "Are you dating anyone?" she queried, implying a romantic relationship. Unable to tell the truth, I lied. Affirming with a shake of my head and a shrug. I feigned ignorance about the rumors circulating. I dismissed it as someone creating unnecessary drama. Yet I could see skepticism in her eyes, and worse, the pain. Not because I had violated a societal norm, but because I had excluded her from my secret. Following her departure, I found myself alone in my darkened room, flipping through old photographs. Birthdays, holidays, my wedding day, my children's graduations. Each memory stirring a pang of guilt for the lie I had told and the wall I had built. All I had constructed, all I had given up. And then, I was back to the instant my husband declared he was departing. I recalled the hollow echo in my chest as he stated he'd found someone who made him feel vital. That phrase had tormented me for years. Now, I comprehended it in a way I never desired, because Angel instilled that feeling in me. For a fleeting, perilous instant, I pursued that sensation as if it were breath itself. However, it came at a cost. My standing was shattered. My bond with my daughter fractured. The tranquil existence I had fashioned following the divorce crumbled. I never encountered Angel again. He vanished just as swiftly as he appeared, like a summer storm that left everything drenched and wrecked. For weeks I berated myself. I was mature enough to be aware. I was knowledgeable enough to depart. But solitude does not announce itself politely. It invades. And when it does, it will persuade you that even the tiniest spark of association is worth sacrificing your entire life for. Lesson gleaned. Visibility doesn't equate to love. Desire doesn't guarantee safety. E confused admiration for affection, optimism for prospects. Now, that night is etched as a scar. Not because it was my gravest mistake, but because it underscored our vulnerability when we feel unseen. If you're experiencing loneliness, reach out to a friend, counselor, or anyone. Avoid the kind of contact that arrives with a grin, yet ends in stillness. Thanks for being part of this narrative journey. I know it was intense, and I value your attention. If it stirred emotions within you, provoked thoughts, or resonated with a past choice, share them in the comments. I read each one attentively. And if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. Your contribution sustains this platform, enabling tales similar to mine to resonate with those who necessitate hearing them. Until our next encounter, remain secure, remain compassionate, and never cease in expressing the truth, even if it provokes pain.